Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, and it looks like the day of reckoning for big tech censorship is finally at hand. The now fired Twitter executives who tried and failed to silence and suppress patriots were on the hot seat yesterday, answering for how they allowed Twitter to basically become a subsidiary of the FBI and other government agencies that wanted to censor voices that went against the regime. Among the highlights of the hearings, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who had her Twitter account indefinitely suspended, got to tear into the very person, Joelle Roth, who ordered that suppression.
You abuse the power of a large corporation, big tech, to censor Americans. And you want to know something? Guess what? I'm so glad that you're censored down. I'm so glad you've lost your jobs. Thank God Elon Musk bought Twitter. And you know what? Let's talk about something a little bit further. It's amazing to me, Mr. Roth, as the head and trust of safety at Twitter, your ability, or should I say inability, to remove child porn. Now, here's something that disgusts me about you. In your doctoral dissertation entitled Gay Data, you argued that minors should have access to Grindr, an adult male gay hookup app. Minors? Really? You know, Elon Musk took over Twitter and he banned 44,000 accounts that were promoting child porn. You permanently banned my Twitter account, but you allowed child porn all over Twitter. Twitter had become a platform, you said, connecting queer young adults. You also wrote on Twitter in 2010, can high school students ever meaningfully consent to sex with their teachers? In 2021, while you were the director of trust and safety on Twitter, an underage boy and his mother announced a lawsuit against Twitter because Twitter was benefiting from and refused to remove a lewd video featuring this boy and another minor. That is repulsive. But you violated me. What were my tweets? Okay, let's talk about them. I was talking about the deaths being reported on VAERS. By the way, that's on the CDC website. I was also saying that I didn't think any entity should enforce a non-FDA approved vaccine or mask. Guess what? A lot of people agreed with me, but you called that COVID misinformation. By the way, I'm a member of Congress and you're not. I also said the controversial COVID-19 vaccines should not be forced on our military. You want to know something? Republicans stopped that in the NDAA.
Ladies, time has expired.
And your time has expired. I yield back. Thank you.
Wow. I mean, wow. By the way, did you notice the ultimate diss there? All the time Marjorie Taylor Greene is hammering away at Joelle Roth, the C-SPAN coverage had her restored Twitter handle under her name the entire time, at RepMTG. Gang, that's gold. That is gold. Talk about total victory. And that's exactly what we heard from Representative Clay Higgins of Louisiana. He made it clear what these Twitter executives were ultimately facing.
Bottom line is that the FBI had the Biden crime family laptop for a year. They knew it was leaking. They knew it would hurt the Biden campaign. So the FBI used its relationship with Twitter to suppress criminal evidence being revealed about Joe Biden 1 month before the 2020 elections. You, ladies and gentlemen, interfered with the United States of America 2020 presidential election, knowingly and willingly. That's the bad news. It's going to get worse because this is the investigation part. Later comes the arrest part. Your attorneys are familiar with that. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to spend 5 hours with these ladies and gentlemen doing depositions surely yet to come. But for right now, I'll yield the balance of my time to my colleague, Mr. Jordan.
So Representative Higgins is promising arrests at the end of all this. That is, according to Higgins, where this is all at least potentially going. Now, what's amazing here in all of this, and Marjorie Taylor Greene alluded to it, when all said and done, these hearings are all the result of one man, Elon Musk, the The bombshell Twitter files that he's been releasing now for months consistently showed a shocking level of collusion between the FBI and other government agencies and Twitter executives to oversee and indeed police what was allowed as legitimate expression on their instant messaging platform. At the heart of this collusion was, of course, the suppression of the Hunter Biden laptop story, first broken by the New York Post. And the more we learn, the more sickening this collusion became. We now know, for example, that the FBI paid Twitter over $3 million as part of their censorship efforts. Elon Musk didn't mince words when this came out. He tweeted out, quote, "Government paid Twitter millions of dollars to censor info from the public." And not to just censor, but to flat out lie, to disparage a laptop that the FBI knew was authentic. So our tax dollars were actually used to reimburse Twitter for the meetings they had with deep state operatives to coordinate how they would better censor news that was damaging to Biden. But it wasn't just the FBI and Twitter executives. This suppression also involved the complicit participation of the legacy media, who today, wouldn't you know it, are actively doing everything they possibly can to dismiss and deride these hearings. Wait till you see these embarrassments. But first, gang, I got to tell you, with all this corruption, I shouldn't have been the least bit surprised when I was recently shown just how easy it is to actually access the deed to my house. And it's not just access it, but actually change it. If you don't know, the deed to your home is the only document that proves you own it. But the problem is that the deeds to all our homes are now online, and criminals are free to find your deed, forge your signature, refile as the new owner of your home, taking out tons of loans using your home's equity and sticking you with all the debt. And don't expect homeowners insurance to bail you out there, because it doesn't. But that's where our good friends over at Home Title Lock come in. Gang, they're amazing. Home Title Lock gives you the peace of mind that the deed to your home is absolutely and completely protected. Click on that link below right now and use promo code Turley Talks. And all you got to do is enter your address for your no obligation home title scan to see if you're already a victim of deed theft. That's a $100 value, absolutely and totally free with my promo code Turley Talks. Gang, don't wait for the worst to happen, only the regret that you didn't do anything about it when you could have. Click on that link below right now and secure your home today. Here's the headline from CNN. If you're listening on the podcast, I'll read it for you. There's a CNN headline: Republican Twitter hearings backfire in spectacular fashion. Yeah, thanks CNN. And thanks for all that breaking investigative journalism into Hunter Biden's laptop. I don't know what we would have done without it. Oh, and that Russian collusion 24/7 3-year coverage, man, that was hard to beat. Academy Award winning. But that's just par for the course in the lamestream media coverage. That's what they're all saying. You see, judging by these headlines, you would think that the legacy media lives, of course, in a parallel universe where everything we're talking about right now isn't happening. You know, as far as they're concerned, their superior fact-checking renders all of this mere hyperbole, just conspiracy theorist Republican nonsense. There is absolutely no evidence of any collusion whatsoever between the FBI and Twitter, right? That's the world you think they're living in. But the reality is that while they're denying there's any evidence to back up these collusion claims, they're the ones deliberately covering up the evidence, or trying to at least, and doing a horrific job at that. Remember, not only was the legacy media complicit in suppressing the Hunter Biden laptop bombshell, they turned to what we now know as a dubious and fraudulent source for much of the reporting on the whole Russian collusion hoax. Back in 2018, Molly Hemingway of The Federalist published a piece that reported on how virtually all of the Russian collusion conspiracy quackery that the legacy media was peddling in 24/7. Remember, they are the conspiracy theorists. There's no one more QAnon than CNN, or I guess we should call them RU-anon. Everything's Russia, 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 right? Virtually all their claims about Russian collusion came from a single source. You want to take a guess as to what that source is? If you've been a regular to this channel for the last several weeks, you know exactly what it is because we reported on it. So if you haven't already smacked that bell and subscribe button, you got to do that. We'll love to have you as a regular part of this community. The single source was none other than the infamous Hamilton 68. If you don't know, Hamilton 68 was a dashboard purported to track Russian bots and disinformation programs online. It gets its name from Alexander Hamilton's Federalist Papers in a section about foreign influence, ironically. So this site, this dashboard, claimed that it was a near real-time look at a list of over 600 Twitter users who they claim were actively spreading Russian propaganda on Twitter. The problem is they refused to release their list of these supposed Russian propagandists to identify them. But it didn't matter to the legacy media because they were being fed precisely the kind of anti-Trump, anti-MAGA propaganda they wanted to publish. Well, what do you know? As it turns out, Hamilton 68 is a total fraud. Yes, another media-backed fraud. Thanks to Elon Musk and the Twitter files, we now know that only about 36 of the 644 accounts targeted by Hamilton 68 were physically registered in Russia. Even some of the most hardened anti-Trumpers at Twitter, like that fellow Joelle Roth, came out and said that Hamilton 68 was basically a bunch of BS and that Twitter needed to call them out for this. This is all before Elon Musk. It was all one big massive scam, just like the legacy media itself. Make no mistake, these hearings, as well as the Twitter file revelations, are blowing up the system like never before. And you and I are getting a front row seat. As always, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. You'll definitely want to check out my latest video on how we finally know who destroyed the Nord Stream pipelines. You're not going to want to miss it. So make sure to click on that link, and I'll see you over there. God bless.